Hello fellow members of the Cody Pack. Today I'm going to be doing a catch-up video. I have been quite busy lately, so I have missed a couple of movie reviews, and I wanted to discuss the Disney Plus streaming service. So in the description below, there will be timestamps, so the different reviews that I'm going to be covering, as well as my discussion on Disney Plus, and whatever else I decide to do during this catch-up video. If you want to watch it all the way through, be my guest. If you want to go to the different reviews or whatever you are looking for exactly, you can go into the description, check on the timestamp, and then get to where you want to be in this video. Now that being said, I want to start out with my review for Parasite. I just recently saw this film. It is a Korean film with subtitles, but don't stop listening now. The movie is fantastic and is worth seeing, even if you have to read the subtitles if you don't understand the Korean language or you're not good at picking up what they're saying. This movie is actually hilarious and is intense, and it covers all different kinds of feelings. It makes you laugh at 1 minute and feel dread in the next. And it gets crazy towards the last half especially. That's when the intensity really ratchets it up. And I was really impressed because here's the thing. You don't expect a movie where you have to read to be as funny as it was. But a lot of audience members, including myself and my friend, laughed out loud during the comedy bits in this movie and felt like we were on the edge of our seat during the intensity parts. So overall, this movie blew me away. And the critics were raving about it. So going in, I was like, okay, I'm expecting it to be good because it has 99% on Rotten Tomatoes, and it did not let me down. It lived up to the hype, even exceeded the hype. It is a fantastic movie. I think it's definitely going to get nominated for Best Picture and Best Foreign Film. I hope it wins for both because it definitely deserves it, but at least Best Foreign Film. Overall, I give it an A+. Now, the next review I'm going to be doing is another independent film. This one is called Jojo Rabbit. It was written, directed, and stars in by Taika Waititi. Taika Waititi plays an imaginary friend, Hitler. Yes, it is Hitler, and it is during World War II, and yes, there is Nazi stuff in there and everything, but that's not what the movie is about, so don't be like, oh, is it a Nazi film? No, it is not. It is about acceptance. It is about looking at the world and looking at people and being like, they're just like us. Like, why do we need to judge them? We are very similar. They're not different. We're all the same in many respects, but also different, and that's what makes us special and great as individuals. The movie stars a little kid that plays Jojo Rabbit, Jojo Bressler, who they make fun of because he's a scaredy cat. They call him a rabbit, and that's how he gets the Jojo Rabbit. And he has an imaginary friend, Hitler, who he believes in because of being taught in school about the Nazis and how Jews are a terrible race, stuff like that, the reinforcement. And that's why his friend is Hitler, because he looks up to him, even though he doesn't know the exact truth of the actual person. So that's why, right off the bat, you see Taika Waititi is not playing Hitler, per se. He is playing a child's interpretation of Hitler. So it is different, and there is a lot of comedy. It's quite funny, but there are a lot of sad moments, a lot of moments to let you soak in the fact that this was a terrible time in history. And it doesn't shy away from that. And that's why I think this movie really works, is that it's not poking fun at this situation. It's actually really poignant and discusses the weird, stupid fact that a lot of these people were believing of these so-called facts of the Jewish population, including that they had wings or horns or stuff like that. Just really bizarre stuff for me and for people nowadays to even consider. overall, I really thoroughly enjoyed it. The acting was fantastic, and the kid who played Jojo Rabbit, this was his first movie, and he makes the movie work, because if he wasn't good, the movie would not work as well, and he was fantastic. Scarlett Johansson gives one of their best performances in a while, and that's saying a lot because she is a fantastic actor, and she's great in everything, but this time, I can see her getting nominated for an Oscar for Best Actress. And overall, Taika Waititi really adds another layer to this movie, and it's a beautiful, beautiful movie. I left smiling, and overall, I give this movie an A+. Okay, I'm going to be talking about Zombieland 2. Now, this came back in October, and it has been a while, but I thought to cover it. Zombieland 2 is a lot of fun. If you like the first Zombieland, you're going to like this one. There's great action, great zombies, special effects, practical effects, great blood, gore, the type of stuff you're looking for when it comes to a zombie comedy like this. And the characters, if you loved the first one, if you love those characters, you're going to love them in this one. The first one and the second one are not that different. There are new characters, and they are great as well. They add a lot to the overall film. It's really funny. I really like what they did with the rules. The rules in this one, like how they worked in those, really made it special. And I thought it was kind of funny how they did the special effects with the rules popping out. If you saw the first one, you know what I'm talking about, where it's like rule 1, stuff like that. And how they had that pop out, or like when in certain scenes, really, really was cool. I dug that aspect. And overall, it was a fun time. It's not like that special. It's not like the best story or anything like that, but that's not what you're looking for when it comes to these kind of movies. And that is why I give it a B. Now on to less than good Zombieland thing, and that's Zombieland Road Trip, the video game. Now, you probably haven't even heard about this. Most of you probably haven't. But it was a Zombieland game that was released. And it is a side-scroller. You look down, eagle-like viewed, like side-scroller shooting game where you look down at the characters. You use the analog sticks to walk and to shoot. It's very like an arcade game that you've played. But this game somehow managed to be a $60 game. I did not buy it. I rented it, because I'm not going to waste my money on a game like that. It's not great. It's very repetitious that's the type of game it is, but there's not really much there, and it is pretty quick to beat. There's only 10 missions, and they are really short depending on how many times you die, and if you walk around a lot, which there aren't really collectibles per se. There's like some side mission stuff you can do, but those are all kind of out of the way. They're not really advertised or like shown in the game itself to be like, oh, look, you can do these side missions. I didn't know about them until I was reading through walkthroughs, and I was like, okay, what's this? And looking at the achievement for side missions, I was like, oh, okay, so there's something there. The horde mode is fine. It's pretty, just basic. That's the main word for this game, is basic. And that's why I give this game a C-. It's not awful. It's still fun. And definitely compared to most movie tie-in games, it's nowhere as bad as some. But it's certainly not great. Now let's talk about Disney+. Disney Plus is a new streaming service that came out just last week. And I really am liking the organization on the platform itself. Let's talk about the platform organization itself. They have it pretty laid out pretty well. You see the images of basically the covers of the different movies and shows, which definitely helps you find what you're looking for. And when you go into the search, there's A through Z you can do. There's different like tabs that you can go to, like classic Disney and stuff like that, or Disney Channel movies, stuff like that help you find what you're looking for. I think they did a better job with organizing than, let's say, Netflix. Overall, I think for this start, other than some glitches that they had in the beginning, which I didn't have to deal with because I didn't get to use the platform until later that day when it launched. But I heard that a lot of people were having problems, which, by the way, people, just because they're Disney doesn't mean that they're not going to have problems. They can't test that stuff out until they release it necessarily sometimes. A lot of the problems, especially let's look at an open world game. A lot of the problems the game developers find is after they had people play the games. It goes with platforms as well. Especially that 10 million people or whatever number they released actually subscribed or used Disney Plus on the first day. So it's a big deal. You probably have it. If you don't, I would recommend it. There's a lot of great content on there, including the Mandalorian show, which is a fantastic Star Wars show. I've seen the first 2 episodes. The 3rd episode's coming out next Friday. It's a really entertaining thrill ride. It's like a Western, but in Star Wars. And I really like to see the different aspects that we haven't actually gotten to cover in the Star Wars films. The Mandalorian doesn't talk much, but you still get a lot of character out of his actions. And I'm not going to spoil it for you, but I'm just going to say the 1st and 2nd episode are both A's. Go watch that show. I strongly recommend it. Now on to a bad thing from Disney+. There's this movie called Noelle, which stars Anna Kendrick and Bill Hader. It's a Christmas movie where Anna Kendrick plays Noelle, who is the cousin of Bill Hader, who is a son of Santa. Santa dies. Spoiler, this happens in the beginning. Not a big deal. This is basically probably in the synopsis as well. And Bill Hader has to take on the role of Santa. And he's stressed out. He's like, oh my God, I can't handle this. There's just too much on my plate. And Anna Kendrick Noelle recommends that he goes on a trip and takes some time off during the weekend. Well, he doesn't come back. And then everybody in the North Pole are angry at Noelle, and she goes on an adventure to go get him. This movie is awful. I'm just going to get straight to it. It's none of the comedy lands. It was actually quite hard to get through for me, even with Anna Kendrick and Bill Hader. I can't believe this movie was as bad as it was because they are both very magnetic performers and they tried their best to make any of the comedy work. And they tried their best to make it entertaining, but it just wasn't. I mean, the movie is really, really bad. It's one of the worst of the year for me. We'll see where it ends up in my top 10 of the year, but I would recommend watching any other Christmas movie than this one. I give it an F. Now, I'm not embarrassed to say this, but there's this new show called High School Musical. The Musical is a series on Disney+. Not embarrassed to say this, but I think it's actually pretty decent. It's definitely better than a Disney Channel show, and definitely less annoying than Riverdale. It's about a high school putting on a musical of the High School Musical, and it's a series. So that's why it's called High School Musical, the series. There's, relationship stuff. There's high school drama, stuff like that that takes place in high school. So what do you expect in a high school show catered towards teens? You're going to get. But overall, I was really actually shocked that I wasn't annoyed watching it, and I found myself interested in the characters, and the acting is pretty solid. So overall, I give High School Musical, the series, the first 2 episodes, a B-. We'll see where it goes in the series. But overall, it seems like Disney Plus right now is doing best with their shows, not great with their movies, but that could change literally next week. Who knows? I mean, Netflix took a while for them to have great movies too, so they're not the only ones. And that covers up my rundown. I hope you enjoyed everything. I hope that whatever you watched helped you decide if you wanted to see a movie or not, or get the Disney Plus streaming service. I strongly recommend it myself. Leave it in the comments below if you got the Disney streaming service or if you've seen the movies and what your opinion is. See you later. See you later.